Hi, everybody. Thank you for being here in this sort of misty, possibly rainy day. The next speaker is somebody I very much admire. My name is Lee Hall. I've come here from Pennsylvania, by the way, and I'll speak in a little bit. But right now I'm here to introduce somebody I've admired for many, many years. A feminist who brings the idea of equality not only throughout the human community, but also throughout the communities of other animals. And I think in 1990, when Karen Davis started United Poultry Concerns, there were some people who were thinking that who's going to take seriously a movement for respect for chickens? Well, they were proved wrong, because Karen Davis is at the forefront of the animal rights movement, showing the importance of all species, and at the core of United Poultry Concerns are domestic fowl, chickens and other domestic fowl. And Karen Davis has opened our minds and our hearts to the beauty, to the personalities, to the relationships that these birds and other birds and all animals have with each other, and therefore us, with other non-human communities. Equality in the most holistic way. So without further ado, Karen Davis, founder of United Poultry Concerns.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you so much for being here today. I'll tell you what, it's really great to stand here on a day when the weather isn't all that great, and to see all these people here who have come out to join the Veggie Pride Parade and the rally, and to join us in speaking up for animals, a compassionate world, which means a vegan world. Refers to a compassionate diet, compassionate food, what I like to call animal-free food, suggesting, reminding people that when we're talking about food that involves animals or does not involve animals, we never want to forget the animals themselves. So I like the idea of animal-free food because that brings the animal back into our consciousness when we're talking about eating and food. And because I like the word free, because this is a great opportunity to be animal-free when we're at the dinner table. It's animal liberation, really. Animal liberation, animal-free food. But we also know that the word vegan encompasses, as much as possible, all parts of our lives, where we are trying to be as compassionate and just in all of our purchases, whether it's cosmetics, whatever, as we possibly can, and to learn to live on this planet in a more responsible way, in a more caring way. Now, as I was introduced, I'm the founder and president of an organization called United Poultry Concerns, and we promote the compassionate and respectful treatment of chickens, turkeys, ducks, and other domesticated fowl. And as Lee Hall just mentioned to you in her introduction of me, her very kind introduction, when I was considering starting United Poultry Concerns in the late 1980s, I was cautioned by a number of leaders in the animal advocacy movement not to start an organization that focused more or less exclusively and particularly on chickens and turkeys, because I was told back then that I would never be able to sustain an organization that focused upon chickens and turkeys. And my attitude attitude back then was, well, if animal advocates take that point of view, that becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Our job is to become the kind of advocate that helps people to learn to care about these birds, to learn to care about chickens as well as pigs, to learn to care about turkeys as well as cows. And we all know that because of the food issue, that the hardest job that animal advocates have is getting people to think about animals when they're thinking and buying food. Because what we find is that as soon as the subject turns to eating and food, something happens in people's minds and they forget that animals are at the core of their food, unless they're vegan, which is our goal, to get people to be vegan, to get people to want, to desire, to choose animal-free food, because that's animal liberation and human liberation. Now, I'm not from New York, but this is I think it's my 6th year. I've been here every single year at the Veggie Pride Parade, speaking, marching, and tabling since it started. So it's a great thrill to see that this parade, that this concept has not only continued, but has expanded and become such an important event here in New York City, and is going to be everywhere because it's going to be all over the internet as well. Now, where I live is in a rural part of Virginia, in a little town called Machapongo, Virginia. This area where I live and where our organization, United Poultry Concerns, is located, is in one of the biggest poultry producing areas of the country. It's called the Delmarva Peninsula. At any given time, 500 million chickens are locked up totally in dark, filthy, 500-foot-long buildings. If you drive around where we're located, you'll see these buildings, and you would never guess, unless you already knew, that each of those buildings has 20, 30,000 or more baby chickens in there. And the turkey house is the same. When we look forward to sunshine, when we look forward to warm weather and springtime and all of the changing climates and weathers that we look forward to brighten our spirits and to do the things we so look forward to doing, let us remember that these chickens and these turkeys live and will always live until they are dead, and after they are dead, in a completely sunless world. That is sunless. Let me tell you something about chickens and turkeys and the sunlight. Where we're located, we have our yards with our rescued chickens, and on winter days, the chickens, who are avid for sunlight, as are the turkeys, they follow the sun through the yard, through the day. And you'll see the chickens all in a little group, right where the sun is shining. They love the sun. And I have to tell you, too, they love the snow. I've taken some great pictures of our chickens out in the snow, and including photographing the snow on the ground, because what you see is all these little chicken feet. Now, these chickens, most of them came from cages. Most of them came from the egg industry. And would you believe it? Most of the chickens at our sanctuary in Virginia, whom we have right now, came from California. Believe it or not. Let's have a hand for these California hens. You know, it is so amazing to realize hens who are used for egg production are locked up in tiny wire cages. They're in dark, filthy houses. It's indescribable how nauseating and sickening and putrid these houses are for all these animals who are raised for food. They're all living in hell. They're all living in a human-created hell. It couldn't be worse. So this particular group of hens had the good fortune to be rescued. Several thousand were actually rescued. And the rescuing organization in California called Animal Place arranged for these hens to be transported by a super jet across country to sanctuaries on the East Coast. And they also brought some to stations along the way, sanctuaries along the way. And these hens, who had never known anything but a cage, suddenly they were in an airplane, and then they were in a van, and our hens, our 50 hens, were next on their way in this van down to our sanctuary in Machaponga, Virginia. And it's just so fascinating to see how these birds, who in their personal life had never even set foot on the ground before, how as soon as they see trees, as soon as they experience the earth under their feet, as soon as they experience fresh air and sunshine, their genetic nature recognizes who they are and what they want to do. And it takes no time at all until, excuse me, they are running around, they are following the sun, they are taking their dust baths, which is their earth baths, and they are learning to be chickens again. So it's wonderful to be with these birds who never knew anything but darkness and misery and fear and filth, to have had the good fortune, the incredible good fortune to have been rescued and to end up in our sanctuary and other sanctuaries. But let us remember that billions of chickens every year, turkeys, pigs, farmed animals, so-called, are never ever going to have a moment of comfort or joy in their entire lives. And all because human beings want the taste of their bodies in their mouth. A totally unnecessary eating experience. So what we have to do, everyone, is we have to stick up for chickens, stick up for turkeys, stick up for pigs, cows, and stick up for an animal-free diet and a world where we all together experience the liberation from all the blood and the suffering and the fear and the terror that is comprised in a plate of animal products. It's all misery. You're eating misery when you eat animal products. We're putting this misery into our bodies. No need to do that. Right. No need to do that. So what we urge people is, be strong for the animals. Be strong for the environment. Be strong for animal-free food. And be strong for going vegan. And our message is, give a cluck. Go vegan. Thank you. And please visit our table, under the blue tent there. We would love to talk to you, and all our literature is free, and you can sign up and get our magazine through the mail, online, whatever. Thank you so much for being here today. Give a cluck, go vegan. Thank you. Thank you.